everyone. I'm Mary-Joy Coburn, and welcome to our very first LAPIO group meeting. Our goal for LAPIO group is collaboration, professional development, and networking. We want to get local government communicators collaborating across the greater Los Angeles County. The professional benefits for you include building your contact list in times of crisis, training opportunities through LAPIO, and most importantly, strengthening PIO relationships. We will also be spotlighting various agencies so we can learn from each other and be better informed. Be a good resource to our constituents and help spread useful and valuable information.
Our focus for this meeting is crisis communications and management. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Brenda Duran. She's the Deputy Executive Officer, Media and Communications for LA County Executive Office of Board of Supervisors.
I'm going to share three key takeaways, as Mary-Joy requested, about some of the lessons learned so far. I think number one for me, I think my role, in addition to all the other duties that I have here, it's really expanded a lot during this time to focus a lot on internal communication. And as much as we have a lot of our focus on external communication, I have found myself a lot more busy with internal communication and making sure that we're keeping all of our staff abreast of all of the changing things going on with their jobs and teleworking, and some of them being reassigned. So I definitely have been busy helping the department set up a website page for the employees to go to find out if they should be reporting to work, if they should stay home, if teleworking guidelines have changed. And in addition to developing the website page, we've also had to work on doing a lot of signage, whether that be on the website and also in the building, to let people know what the safety precautions are if they are coming into the building. The second thing is that, as many of you I'm sure have been doing, is embracing the virtual world a lot more these days and making sure that we're all set up online. During this time, we had to rethink a lot of long-standing processes, a lot of workflows, and think how we're going to be taking that and bringing that online. And I think that's been a great opportunity for us to really revisit a lot of things that perhaps we didn't have online before for the public to be able to utilize, but now we do. And so it's also given us an opportunity to look at our website and see if there's anything that we might want to make a little bit more clear, look at our messaging, and then also utilize some of our social media platforms. So right now we have a Twitter page that we actually established before the pandemic. And we had established that to make sure that a lot of people who were not able to come to the board meeting just stayed aware of whatever items were voted on in real time. And that's become very useful during the pandemic. I think that if you want to follow along and you're not able to log on to the meeting on the phone or online, you're able to follow our social media account. The third thing I would say is the major key takeaways. As a PIO, it's always really important to make sure that you are aware that you're constantly, with the flow of information and the changes that are going on, you're constantly going to be tasked to pivot. On that end, I'm open to questions, and thank you for letting me share.
So my question is about, I know that you had mentioned about internal communications, how that's increased due to teleworking. Yeah. So what are some challenges that you and your team have faced now that there is more increased internal communications? And if you do have challenges, how do you guys address that?
Well, I think that with a lot of our staff being going to telework and also being reassigned to other jobs, it's just being able to have a place where they can go to get information. That's why I talked about we were figuring out, well, what's a fast way to do that. And one of the things that we did was create a web page, and that's really been, here's a one-stop shop if you really want to get an update on what it is that is going on, what's the changes that are going on from a county level, a national level. Here's where you go. So the challenge that we faced initially was, how do we get this information out to everybody? If some people are teleworking, some people are out on disaster service work, and some people are in-house. How do we do that? So we created that webpage on our own website and sent that link out to the staff so that if they wanted to stay abreast of everything that's going on, they could just go there and check in every day or check in periodically to see if anything has changed. We've utilized that as a one-stop shop. And then the second thing is obviously sending everyone an email pretty consistently, bi-weekly or so. We've been trying to do that. But I think that the link for the site has really been able to help us with that challenge of basically reaching everybody that's spread out.
This time, I would like to introduce Helen E. Chavez. She's a Joint Information Center Director for LA County Emergency Operations Center.
During a disaster, when it's a really bad day out there, rumors fly. And as communicators, I'm sure you all are well acquainted with that. We live in the era of technology, and I feel like that is our, in quotes, our cross to bear. That because we have so much technology, anybody's a reporter, anybody can capture images, anybody can comment on anything. And that's just the state of which we live in as communicators. Twitter accounts, on social media, on Facebook, there's a lot of rumor control that immediately has to take place. And so when you're working in a JIC, when you're working to serve and support an emergency public information mission, making sure that you are connected into the system and that you're working directly with the decision makers and with the authorities who are actually saying, this is the accurate information to give out. One of the most important things is being quick, being in the game, being first, as quick as possible to be able to get that information. Because if you lag, and this is something that I've learned the very hard way, if you're letting the perfect be the enemy, basically of good enough, then you're not even going to be a player in the story, and you're going to be left out. And there goes your opportunity to get that accurate, timely information and correct information out to the masses or to whomever that you are targeting. So those are just some quick essentials that when you're operating or when you're functioning the JIC, you need to abide by. If you think of a JIC, like what's the best symbol? And I thought of this, it's basically a hub of sorts, it's a wheel. And in that middle where you see that black flower looking thing, that is really that's the JIC. That's what it does. It is basically a team of PIOs that are coming together to be able to coordinate information, public information. And no matter how big that emergency gets, know that there is a tried and true method. All emergency management professionals, whether you're in law enforcement, fire, public works, any type of response, emergency management, we all follow the same playbook. One thing that really unites all of us in this chat room is that if you're working in LA County, the hallmark of this county is diversity. So as communicators, all of our work, we always have to have that frame of reference. And as we're looking at our audience, making sure that we're taking an equitable approach and a diverse approach of how we're connecting with people during their worst day. I hope that was helpful, a little bit of a teaser. There's much more, but hopefully this was something to get you at least a flavor of JIC and emergency public information fundamentals. Thank you.
Helen, I wanted to ask, at what level does the county get involved in an incident and open a JIC or coordinate with the city? I know up here at the North County, we have a lot of fires all the time, but at what level does that coordination begin?
Remember when I talked about the art and science? This is where there's a little bit of both, because there's three variables, and that's kind of the science part of it, right? We're assessing, or at least when I'm looking at an incident, I'm looking at size, scope, scale, duration. Those are the main variables, right? If it's a very localized type of an emergency, right? Very fixed, it's going to be contained quickly. The number of people may be high, it may be low, but if it's going to be something that's contained quickly, the joint information portion of it, which has more of the longevity kind of associated with it, isn't going to be quite as relevant. However, it can also be something that is quickly occurring, but it's impacting hundreds of thousands of people. So there, whereas the response and the emergency coordination portion of it may be short, there's going to be a significant recovery, coordinated communication strategy needed for the recovery portion because it's a lot of people. So in short, those are the main variables that we're assessing. And the county always stands ready to be able to support. And I've actually developed a very quick JIC just-in-time kind of a training that I started a pilot, and then we got hit with coronavirus. But this is not rocket science. Any one of you can learn how to do this. I had started from scratch at one point, so I think one of the best ways also to get acquainted is to volunteer to serve in one. And I did that through the mutual assistance request. I've served in several JICs, and so that also has helped me get more comfortable and getting acquainted with that decision-making process. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much for joining us on our very first LAPIO group meeting, and we hope to connect with you soon.
I'd also like to take this time to thank our planning committee members for taking time out of their busy schedule to help plan for this meeting.